Invitational is about to begin. Let's get into the game. I caught a few of you at home singing along to that. I heard you. Don't think you didn't do it. I heard you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Cloud Kingdom, where we have a pretty exciting TVZ on the cards. Let's go take a look at who we have on offer. Spawning in the top right-hand position as the pink Zerg player, a new-ish, I guess, acquisition for Clarity Gaming from Chile. Winning that seat from the South American qualifiers, ladies and gentlemen, we have Clarity Gaming's cKilleR. His opponent, however, is no slouch because he is spawning in the bottom left-hand side of the map as the red Terran player representing Team Empire, guys. A very conservative but unbelievably solid playstyle that keeps him so far in so many tournaments. Guys, we have EmpireKas. So, a potentially explosive TVZ here, but I actually don't expect it to end in the early game. Why do I say this, you might ask? Well, Kas is famous for being able to get very deep into brackets, especially in best-of-1 online tournaments. Why, do you ask? Because his playstyle is unbelievably solid. He's very macro-oriented and very, very capable of getting to a really solid late-game composition basically as fast as humanly possible. This guy's a macro machine. Not a micro machine. Those toys are very, very different. But this guy is really good. Even delaying the drone just a little bit with that supply depot raise. This guy knows every little trick in the book. And actually that SCV is getting a little bit low, but really nicely done there. He's going to be moving a second SCV in to build the barracks and not even pausing to attack the drone. He's just going to allow the barracks to finish there, and it doesn't look like the drone's going to be able to kill the SCV in time, so the barracks will finish. In the meantime, we have Hatch first coming down from Clarity's kKilleR. And there goes the spawning pool, ladies and gentlemen, after the hatchery. So, we're going to be seeing a pretty standard macro game so far. We should be seeing another supply depot attempt to block it off. This drone, wow, actually, you've seen it all here, guys. We have a drone blocking a command center, even though it can be built on the high ground and floated down. Kas was like, no, I want to put it right here. Not going to be having any of that. And a Marine will successfully chase that drone away. Of course, the drone's significantly faster, so we'll be able to get the heck out of dodge a lot faster than that Marine can give chase. And now the question is, what kind of follow-up do we have from Kas? We can see the double gas being taken here. So normally in this kind of build, we would expect Kas to go for this double gas immediately after the command center goes down, which it has, get enough gas for a factory and plonk down that factory approximately here so that we can get some reactored Hellions out on the map. Don't forget, guys, Hellbat drops are totally not a thing in this particular game just yet. We are, of course, on Wings of Liberty, not Heart of the Swarm. And I, for one, am quite thankful for it. I actually quite like seeing Wings of Liberty tournaments sort of live out their days until Heart of the Swarm is released. If everything's on Heart of the Swarm right now, it's almost like we're prematurely killing off the esport that is Wings of Liberty, and that would be a little bit sad. We've seen a lot of fantastic games, especially in the current GSL season. So showing us that a lot of dynamic play is still possible here, especially at a very, very high level. We have a lot of Chilean fans in the chat there. They're going to be cheering on these two Zerglings. Unfortunately, they don't do very well against a group of 4 Marines, and a grand total of 0 damage was done just there. But don't worry, guys, because cKilleR has a lot more where that came from. We now only have 1 gas from cKilleR, and note that it's being taken in his natural. So if a scan goes off in the main base, just to spot any tech or stuff like that, he will see that no gas has been taken. But a Roach Warren is now going down for cKilleR. So at the 5-minute 40 mark, he will be putting down his Roach Warren. In the meantime, Kas just continuing to power up. Note that he hasn't put a bunker on the low ground. He has, though, gone into those reactor Hellions, and this should be a starport, and we actually have a tech lab going down. So this is the tried and tested Hellion Banshee opening. Of course, this tech lab is going to get produced on the barracks. The barracks will then promptly fly away and allow the starport to take its place to give the minimum possible time to get a Banshee out in this game. Couple Marines moving out here just to check if there are any remaining scouting overlords that might not have moved into position yet, and that could end up being really good because this overlord right here is almost in the scouting path of the Marines. Imagine if it gets caught. It's very close to getting caught at the moment, but the Marines turn back at the last second. In the meantime, a 3rd base now going to be going down for cKilleR. The Roach Warren is, of course, complete. A couple of roaches are going to be popping out for him right this minute. The work supplies are 33 to 34 in favor of our Zerg player, but don't forget Kas has a double mulage he can use as well. Some Hellions going to be moving out across the map as the Banshees now start getting produced. Important to note that no cloak is currently being researched on these Banshees. And he's going to attempt to roast a couple of creep troopers. That one's so close to death. Yeah, I knew he'd go back and try and take that one out successfully as well. But these queens are holding this position pretty well indeed. They're going to go up towards 3rd base and going to run into a wall of roaches, which is really not what you want when your name is Mr. Hellion. So unfortunately, Kas not able to do any damage with these Hellions. He can still use them to get a decent amount of map control if he's able to try and stop creep tumors from spreading, for instance. But with only 2 instead of 4 and walking them into roaches once again and losing a 3rd one, it becomes very difficult. Ideally, you want 4 or 6 Hellions out on the field, ready to deny any sort of early game aggression. We can see cKilleR coming in here, spots that Kas has actually taken his 3rd base, and we have the Banshee that should be able to chase these roaches away. Will the SCV get picked off that's building the command center? That's actually really annoying for him if it does, but a 2nd SCV already prepared. Look at how unbelievably solid Kas's play is. And between these Marines and the Banshee, everything is going to get cleaned up here. Even stutter stepping the Marines back, trying to individually micro them so that the Banshee can pick off the maximum number of units. In the meantime, Spore Crawler already in the natural expansion and one in the main as well. Nothing at the 3rd base just yet for cKilleR. So let's see what he ends up doing with that. Kas, of course, hasn't got Cloak on his Banshee, so it's not going to be quite as critical as long as there are Queens out to defend. But if we take a look at that production tab, a lot of stuff is going on for Kas right now. He switched into Siege Tank production. He's got Siege Mode about to complete. We also have a little bit of lag, unfortunately. One of the observers in this game, I do believe one of the commentators in language, is having a little bit of an issue. So, while we wait for that, it looks like, unfortunately, he is going to be leaving the game. I don't really think there is much of a chance he's going to return here. On the plus side, though, guys, I remember in the lobby someone saying, hey, please invite Bombs, he's my co-caster. So that's great, which means that a stream isn't going to be without a caster, so someone's going to be able to solo cast until we get into Game 2. Guys, if you've been enjoying the tournament so far, please don't forget to tweet at Vasacast, who have organized this invitational tournament. For those of you who are wondering who or what Vasacast is, it's basically the premier Italian StarCraft 2 stream. So they cater in Italian as many StarCraft 2 tournaments as they can get their hands on, and their casting is phenomenal. The amount of energy they put in seriously makes me think that there's some sort of substance that everyone is on there, because the energy, the enthusiasm, it is so wonderful and so unbelievably high for the longest possible time. I really, really enjoy listening to them, even if I don't understand 80% of what's being said. In the meantime, guys, we have a Banshee going to be popping up here towards the natural expansion of cKilleR. And look at this creep spread. Being very diligent here is cKilleR, just moving out into the middle of the map. It's at the 10-minute mark, and he's already captured one of the watchtowers. And we have a little bit of damage being done by the Banshee here. One drone goes down. 2 more drones within 1 shot of getting killed. Managing to pick that one off and unable to pick another one. So a total of 4 kills on this Banshee before it has to retreat. There's quite low hit points as well. cKilleR, in the meantime, is going to be moving out with a band of roaches towards the third base location of Cass. Let's see what happens here. We have some tanks sieging up and some marines as well. They do not yet have stim, ladies and gentlemen. Stim is only halfway done, and one-shotting the tanks. Really nice job there as if he's unable to repair, and it looks like he's going to take the marines on head-on. I'm not 100% sure he wins this engagement. Needs to be very careful. SCV's coming off the line as well, and siege tank in pung pung mode, going to be popping out from behind. Needs to put those SCVs back to mining, picking off a mule, which is nice as well. And I don't think, well, KILLER's certainly going to try, but I'm not 100% certain he takes down this base or anything like that. He can deny a bit more mining, though. We need another siege check, really, to creep forward from Cass. In the meantime, there are no other engagements out on the map just this moment. He picks up another refinery as well. And this Banshee looks like it's going to be harassing these roaches back. A nice little missile turret there. Going to try and prevent any burrowed roaches. And it looks like he might try and just power through these Marines here. But I don't quite think there's enough, especially with the Banshee present. The Marines do successfully take it out. And KILLER has to go home. The current supplies are 95 for Cass versus the 91 for KILLER. And the worker supplies, as you can see, are 67 to 60 in favor of our Chilean Zerg. Look at this beautiful creep spread. Another couple of tumors here would not go amiss at all. And then he will have creep over both of the watchtowers. Small band of roaches taking out the missile turret here, allowing for possibly some future burrowed infestor play or burrowed roach play. Could be a lot of fun. Fourth base now being taken for our Zerg player here. If we take a quick look inside his main, we finally have Zergling speed at that classic 12-minute and 45-second mark, about a quarter of the way done. But of course, he hasn't really needed to tech up before now. He already has the infestation pit down, but it'd be nice to get that pathogen glands started relatively soon. He's currently floating about 600 gas. Cass, though, still staying solid. He's on 117 supply, completely identical to KILLER. Neither side really supply blocking themselves, playing really nice macro games so far. No upgrades yet on the Zerglings for KILLER. We have got +1 attack, though, on the Roaches, and the bio at the moment is at 1-1 already for Cass, but note that vehicle upgrades are only just coming in. He will have 2-2 soon, though, and might have the potential to execute a 2-2 timing if KILLER doesn't have sufficient numbers of infestors, perhaps, as support units out early on. So we'll see if he manages to do that. Still keeping up his creep spread, actually getting very close to the third base location. Does the Banshee see this creep tumor? It does not.
Upgrade complete.
So this is great, because we're actually getting close to having the fourth base gunked up here from Cass, which is going to be such a frustrating situation for him. He's going to have to waste a few scans, and KILLER's going to feel pretty confident with his map control as well. So there's the command center floating over. There's the creep. We need one more creep tumor over here pretty quickly, but there is the army from Cass. I think the command center should be able to go down quickly. And note that we have a queen and an overseer here continuously trying to deny any sort of stuff. But a massive attack going on into the third base, and the army is being caught out of position. We have a medevac and a drop going down in the natural expansion as well for Cass. He's going to try and take apart KILLER, but this third base is looking like it's under a lot of duress right now. Everything has to be lifted. What can this drop do back at home, though? The queen's actually going down, and Cass is getting a lot of purchase. He needs to be careful with his multitask. He's going to be coming back in here and trying to take on the main army at the third base location. KILLER is going to be moving back, but he needs to do something about this drop ASAP. Work is killed 20 to 14 at the moment. One more fungal should do the trick there. Is he going to get the medevac? Just about. One more. There we go. Okay, and that should be the end of that. So, that was the first major engagement of the game. A lot of stim used on these Marines and Marauders here, but just note, only one medevac following them right now, so we could really use a little bit of a higher medevac count. He has completed 2-2, though. If we take a quick look at the upgrades, it's 1-1 for everything on KILLER. So the upgrade advantage at the moment is in Cass's favor, sending a small band of units to take out the fourth base. Really, really sensible decision there, and KILLER looking like he wants to go for a massive counterattack. He's going to go via the fourth base into the third. That's a planetary. It cannot lift. That is definitely going to go down there, and we have got the fourth base from KILLER going down as well. And a separate group of units going in towards the third, but there are 2 tanks and a bunch of bio there. That is not going to be sufficient, but with the rest of this army, he may want to give it a pop. We'll see what he decides to do in just a second. Fourth command center immediately getting rebuilt from Cass, who is currently supply blocked 169 out of 161. But KILLER down to 147 supply. In the meantime, we have ventral sacs being researched from KILLER, so this could be fun. We could be seeing some drop play while we have a proc and prod into the natural or the third base, really trying to test Cass's multitasking here. That could be a lot of fun indeed for him, but he's currently down in supply. He needs to be very careful because 3-3 is nearly complete for the bio from Cass. He has been so solid, keeping up with his upgrades very, very diligently, and here we go. Here comes an engagement. A fungal does go off, almost kills off an infestor, but not quite. He can't get in there with chain fungals because the siege tanks will be able to take the infestors out. And KAS, once again, he's going to be moving towards the 4th base location here of cKilleR. But those infestors need to be so careful. And it looks like both sides are going to be pushing back here. The battleground will be around the 4th base. Is cKilleR going to be sending perhaps a counterattack through here over to the 3rd base? That would not be ill-advised right now. Note that there are no siege tanks right here to defend, but he does need every ounce he can get, especially against this 3-3 bio that's going to be coming in exactly 3 seconds. There we go. So cKilleR in a little bit of a tough spot right now. He's got drones coming into this base to mine, so he's taking an alternative 4th. No counterattacks because he feels he needs absolutely every unit to try and deal with this, but that's because he's been buying time for the Broodlords. 3 Broodlords out right now. Is it going to be enough to push KAS back, though? He does a quick scan, sees there are only 3 Broodlords, mainly Lings and Infestors. However, Broodlords 4, 5, and 6 are now coming in as well, and it looks like that's going to be enough to push KAS back. 4 Corruptors also coming in to try and preempt any Vikings that are popping out. And the number of medevacs on the field concerns me slightly. It's only 5 at the moment, but a decent number of this bio army is actually at reasonably low health. So KAS does have to be a little bit wary of that as well. And meanwhile, this overlord actually spots that extra command centers are being built towards a 3rd base location, so that's going to give him the information he needs to know where to strike if you want. Ooh, wow, massive stim there against really not much from KAS. He got spooked by something. That's not going to do his medevac energy very much good at all. So he needs to make sure that these medevacs have energy for when the next massive engagement starts. Meanwhile, Broodlord's still out in number here. We have Vikings and a +1 weapons being researched for them as well. Planetary Fortress back up at the 4th base, 2 additional command centers, and there are the Vikings popping out onto the field, picking off a couple of overlords and also supply blocking cKilleR. He's currently at 70 drones of 62 SCVs. He has 7 Broodlords as well with this army that he's thinking about moving out at some point soon, and it looks like we have a small force going towards the 4th, while cKilleR attempts to take out the 6th. Stimming out, we should probably see a cancel at the 4th. There's no way that can be saved, and yes, there we go, successful cancel there, and he is going to be moving out into flank from both sides. Great fungal growth to start off with. Can the Broodlords actually take out this army? Nice follow-up fungal, and that is going to be all she wrote for that army. He might load them up into medevacs, but where are the Corruptors? If the Corruptors give chase now, that would be fantastic, but he's actually moving back because we have another attack going up against the base over here, but a massive run-by into the main, into the natural, into the 3rd base from KAS. This might be the final engagement of the game. Both players really testing each other's multitasking to the absolute limit here. 3 medevac drop going towards the main base now, but Lings are absolutely everywhere. At the main base, stopping the production structures from getting units out. At the natural expansion with some roaches as well. And both players are absolutely tearing it out like it's a boxing match. There's the triple drop into the main. We need a couple of fungals. And the Broodlords are going to go back to attempt to clean this up. This Great Aspire looks like it's going to go down as well. The majority of the bio army is moving back to try and defend. A lot of damage has been done by both sides, though, and I think cKilleR has done a decent amount of damage to the infrastructure. Not quite killing as many buildings as I thought, but preventing mining from this for so long. The 4th base is still mining, though, and it looks like the bio army will eventually be able to clean this up. That barracks will probably go down. We need a very quick repair on that, and the rest of the Lings are taking apart the reactors on these barracks. Great choice there, and no, the planetary is trying to go down. Unfortunately, nice surround repair there means it stays alive. So, guys, players absolutely at each other's throats right now. KAS at 137 supply, cKilleR at 155. Still more action going on in the main base with these Lings, and a couple of Marines getting picked off there as well. So slowly picking up these reinforcements will serve him well in the long run. But it looks like both players are about to stabilize. We have an SCV repairing that burning factory, which is good. All those add-ons disappeared, though, and that's going to hurt his Marine production capability a lot. cKilleR now expanding like an absolute madman, otherwise known as a Zerg player. We've got 2 hatcheries going up here and possibly another one here in just a moment to stop that. Oh, that Spinecrawler actually is about to die. Don't leave me alone. Don't leave me alone. And the drones run off and don't care. Sad, sad story. Alright, now in the meantime we have a massive attack being loaded up from cKilleR at the moment. It's 177 to 161 supply. The worker supply is 58 to 36. We're actually getting building armor from KAS at the moment to try and prevent that planetary going down too quickly against the Broodlords. And here we go, the siege jump begins at the 4th base location. The siege tank splash damage actually taking out a decent number of SCVs. Needs to be very careful. Here come the Vikings moving in as well. There are a decent number of them. There are 13. Is the corrupt account going to be high enough to deal with this? Oh no, and the infestors come in to try and deal with the bio army. They can't quite get a fungal off on the Vikings though, and these Broodlords need to constantly be doing damage. Do we actually have injects with the Broodlords? I don't think we do. No queens here at the moment. They're doing a lot of damage, but the Vikings are actually staying alive reasonably well. Not too many corruptors left. The Marines doing a good job of cleaning them up, and there's actually more Vikings here than Corruptors. That is a big problem in the long run for cKilleR. It looks like his Broodlords might eventually all go down. The mules are being dropped because he feels it's safe to mine. And yes, Kas is able to take a massive victory here in the middle of the map. Unfortunately, the micro with the Corruptors was not enough. The Marines that hung back at around this area were able to do a lot of damage to the Corruptors. So even though the Vikings one-on-one with the Corruptors may not have won that battle, with the help of the Marines, Kas is able to take a big lead in supply right now. He's currently up 145 to 103. We have another run by here with the Zerglings from cKilleR. Let's see what our Clarity Gaming Zerg can do. Run straight into a siege check and decides the better of it. Maybe he can pick off a couple of reinforcements here, stimming those Marines forward to prevent them from doing too much damage, and moving into the third base once again. This must be the umpteenth time this base has been attacked this game, but the entire army is very close to arriving back. 72 workers killed though so far, 74 and counting, so that's not too bad for him at all, but he is down to 89 supply. He has 5 bases at the moment, but with only 85 supply, and most of that in workers, it's going to be very difficult for him to replenish an army. He actually has 2,000 minerals and 700 gas, but only now starting to morph in the Greater Spire once again, and he's going to be a little bit gas-starved going into the later game. So that's why he's struggling to reproduce his army right now, and that's why you see 32 lings on the way in the production tab. So this is a pretty tense game, but Kas at the moment looking like he has all of the momentum in the world. We have drones being transferred to the top left base, and oh no, if these 2 bases go down as well, that's going to be really rough for him. Kas spotting the drones getting transferred. That is rough. Full energy queen, see you later. And this base and all of these drones are effectively forfeit, and that's a lot of drones right there, guys. That's over 20 drones that are about to die. And this hatchery is going to go down as well. So he's basically on his original 3 bases plus another 4th that he's trying to take down here. But Kas is now ahead by 60 supply. Ooh, very nice. Getting away with all the drones. The problem is they can't actually do any mining for a while. So they really are just free supply right now. And the Banshee that's on 3 hit points. How sad is this? Is going to be able to slowly take apart these drones. Dear, oh dear. Not having a good day. This is not a good day to be a drone. +2 vehicle weapons now incoming for our Terran player, but Kas already at 3-3 with his bio. One of these lings at 2-2, but he cannot engage with them alone. The flyer upgrades are currently not existed. These 2 bases have gone, and if this 3rd base goes down as well, it's going to be so difficult for cKilleR. He's currently down 60 supply. Great fungal growth on the Vikings. Can he follow it up with another chain fungal? And oh my goodness, look at that, ladies and gentlemen. So close to killing off so many of them. 2 of them died there, and the rest of them are incredibly low. Here come the Corruptors, and very quickly dispatching the Vikings, of course, because of their low health. And that means that the Broodlords actually will be able to take a commanding lead in this battle. The Medevac's going down as well, and cKilleR making a beautiful stand here in this engagement. These siege tanks do not stand a chance, of course, and the Corruptors cleaning everything up. Great fungal growth on the Vikings made this attack possible, and Kas is now down to 127 supply. Well then, just when you thought it might have been over in Kas's favor, that engagement did not go his way at all. Fantastic fungal growth to start off with from cKilleR, and following that up with really nice play, allowing the Broodlords to get into position and demolishing that army. But we have another attack going on here, and the problem really right now is now that this hatch has disappeared, cKilleR is constantly confined to his original 3 bases. That is not where you want to be as a Zerg player, especially when your Terran player has a 4th. So if we take a look at the mining situation right now, you can see it's looking pretty dire for cKilleR. He just has no income, even though he was so cost efficient in that particular engagement. These siege tanks and Marine actually see the long distance mining going on here. So Kas is still actually in a pretty good position, even though he botched that fight. In the meantime, the Broodlords still with no upgrades on them, at least not on the flyer attacks. They're actually coming by with a couple of queens now as well, which is great. So he's going to try and take down his 4th base as cost effectively as possible. There are only 4 Vikings and a handful of Marines, so it might actually be okay for him to do this here. And a lot of SCVs actually getting pulled as well. The Planetary is currently down to about 50% health, but look at this massive push out from Kas. He wants to end the game with this push, even going with a Raven as well. And no, he's actually coming back with it. Will the Planetary survive? These SCVs are very slowly getting picked up, so the repair rate on the Planetary will go down over time. And if that happens, then it will eventually go. Here we go, stim forward from the Marines. We have some Vikings as well, picking off actually 1 Broodlord as it currently stands. But the Broodlings are quite high in number, but the rest of the army is popping back now as well. So if Kas can hold this spear and kill off these Broodlords, cKilleR's going to find himself in an incredibly difficult position. He has no further... He effectively has to win the game or do a lot of damage with this army alone. And Cass has a small bank. He's thinking about charging in. He's not 100% sure. We see the scan going off underneath. He's waiting for more units to arrive. There we go. That's a lot of Vikings, actually. And he does have point defense drones, so he might be able to take this army here. And if he does, that's going to be game. With Planetary staying alive for a very long time. Cass doing a great job keeping that alive, stalling for as much time as physically possible. But now the SCVs and the mules are dead. More being transferred from the third base. They need to go and repair shortly indeed. And Cass, oh, I think he's doing this to hold off the retreat. He's very slowly thinking about coming in here. Another scan just to check where the flying units are. And it looks like cKilleR has given up on that for the meantime. But, sees the infestors, moves back. Great decision there from Cass. Needs to be very careful, but we have Thors in this army composition now as well. And Cass is closing in from multiple angles. Lots of splash damage on the Thors. One infestor goes down. The second one is on about half health. Decent fungal on some of the Vikings, but it's not going to be enough. Point defense drone goes down as well. And these Corruptors are dropping left, right, and center. cKilleR down to 56 supply. And I think Cass is going to be able to take game number 1. GG. Well played.